Welcome back to The Perspective on Blaise Sato. We're talking about the Internet of Things, and there's a lot to talk about. But right now, let's talk about energy. There's an anecdote I shared with you during the break that I remember imagining a while ago, just about a year ago, is how do you get an oil rig to talk to a beach resort so they don't get in each other's way? Is that kind of what we're talking about here? Something to do with green energy and emissions?
Well, we're definitely talking about green energy, but getting an oil rig to talk in a resort, I think that's something interesting that I can bring back to Hitachi and explore. But yes, it honestly makes sense. You know, it's a real case scenario. Like if there's something happening with a rig, I want the resort to know.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the resort wants the oil rig to know, do not mess around with my beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but let's go back to the energy segment in itself. Hitachi has a presence in energy, in mining. Where we're talking about making the operations more efficient in mining, predicting exactly where you should be mining and not mining, making sure safety of workers are taken care of in that area, making sure we can find renewable energy in the market space, especially on the bigger picture of the social innovation strategy. So those are exciting areas that the company is looking at as well.
Okay. So how can this be applied to fossil fuels? Or can it be? Or is this now beyond that?
Well, I think that might be an area beyond me to actually answer, to be honest with you. That the bigger Hitachi play will have an answer to that, considering that I come from Hitachi data system.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not an expert in the area energy, but I do feel that whole innovation play will take off in that area.
Well then, let's talk a bit more about Hitachi then. We've listed here wind turbines are in there. Is that still part of the future?
Yeah, so you know the unique play about Hitachi, when I brought up this social innovation play, how do we incorporate social innovation as a strategy together with big data, with the Internet of Things? We've got to live that life. So when you look at Hitachi as a company, we have businesses in wind turbines, in gas turbines, in transportation, as I mentioned earlier, in railway stations. We build bullet trains, smart cars, medical imaging, medical diagnostics, medical equipment, the proton beam therapy to help cancer treatment, stuff like that. Water treatment solutions and stuff. So there are so many different facets of industries that Hitachi deal with. If you live that life and you understand that business, that becomes your DNA. How do we bring that together with the world of information technology, the world of operational technology, and that particular industry expertise that I talk about into a social innovation solution?
Into a social good?
To help do social good. Absolutely. That's the thought process. That's exactly the execution and strategy that Hitachi as a group is thinking about.
Well, medical imaging is sort of the irresistible one here, really.
Yes.
Because that's the most obvious massive benefit. I mean, could you see, I'm imagining that suddenly a wealth of information that's generally only available in much more developed places, whether it's a city, rural divide or not, suddenly you can get that information out further, which means people can be treated better.
Anywhere, any point in time. It should not be that I can only go to this particular hospital because I've been there in the past to get my treatment when I could be holidaying in a particular beach resort, you know. So it's a scenario of the whole world of electronic medical records.
Moving to warmer climes.
Yeah, exactly.
Combining the new and the old methods.
Basically, you still need the doctors. You still need the doctors. But the important thing is getting that important piece of information to the hands of the doctor. It could be Dr. Hope, it could be Dr. Rajendran, it doesn't matter. Getting that information to the right doctor as fast as you can to save lives.
Right.
That area. So that's the drive that we want. That's the end result and outcome.
Oh, then let's jump on a little bit to battery systems here. I want to ask about this because are we talking about powering remote areas, or are we just talking about making systems more efficient?
Actually, the battery solution works across the different technologies we have. Even in our technology, the information technology, we have battery solutions. Obviously, in every electronic equipment that we sell will be backed up by battery solutions and systems, to be fair. The objective with that particular group is to make sure it's as green as possible, it's as efficient as possible to help drive a certain technology or equipment.
There's so much here to go through, but obviously limited amount of time. I just want to bounce off some of these topics. So can you just tell me, what is social infrastructure?
Okay, so I've mentioned social innovation quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's the bigger Hitachi plan, right?
Right.
Now, Hitachi Data Systems, as a company, we have 3 layers of solutions that we bring to market. Information infrastructure, where we help protect information of a customer, where we help manage the information across different sources, where we help to share information. That's where virtualization, convergence, and all that come into play. The second layer is the layer of unstructured information.
Yeah.
Remember I talked about video surveillance, cameras,
Yeah.
stuff, the objects, the machines, content. The whole area of content management. How do we manage content better? This is the world of unstructured data that is growing faster than the world of structured data. The third layer comes about with analytics, big data. How do you manage all of this information in a customer environment?
Yeah.
We call that the information intelligence layer. So if you combine these 3 layers, a lot to do with information technology, with the social innovation framework I talked about, that's what we call social infrastructure. Bring it all together, backed up by the information infrastructure, the content management solutions, and the big data / analytic solutions that Hitachi have with the social innovation strategy.
Okay, well, let's hold there. We've got to go to break again, but stay tuned and we'll see you on The Perspective on Bodhidharma.